Hey, what's up, guys? I decided to make another video. This time on Spy X Family. If you've seen my my channel before, I usually like to pull out what I'm watching, but I just like anime is expensive, dude. And I bought a little, like good amount a little bit ago, so I just can't afford to buy every series. So just finished watching Spy X Family. Wrote some notes. Just wanted to make another video talking about it, like I just said. But um, I really enjoyed this show. I've heard about it for years. I was, since it came out, you see all the memes and the face, Anya's face. And and so I was like, I wanted to check it out. I also still have the videos coming out for Heaven's Lost Property, and then I also finished seasons 4 through 6 of My Hero Academia. So those are both videos that'll be coming. But for now, Spy X Family. I really enjoyed this show. This comedy was really good. Um, I have some things like where I was a little bit mixed on. Like I basically like all the characters except for Yuri. He is really fucking annoying to me. Like he has no character trait other than like my sister, my sister, my sister. It's like fucking ridiculous, and I'm just like I'm done with this motherfucker. Like actually, okay, well he's not that bad, but I don't like him. Definitely my least favorite side character. The plot I just thought was really genius. I really liked the father daughter dynamic. Um, it was just so good, and then they bring the mother in episode 2. I appreciate that they kind of didn't rush all that, throw that in one episode. Definitely wouldn't have worked. And I've also, I've heard about the show, the premise, or I've like learned about it a little bit at least. And so sometimes I'll hear about things and they're not what I expected. Like characters won't be what I expect from reading, like from hearing the synopsis or whatever. Like when I hear that Yora's like this assassin, I kind of think she's gonna be cold, distant, all this stuff, but she's not. She's just a regular regular girl, except when she becomes, an assassin. That's like she just kind of gets like that, like cold, just get the job done type shit. But she's still the same person. Um, and and Lloyd also is kind of not what I expected, but less so. I just really like I said, the idea of this show with this fake family. And obviously, like, I mean, I really don't think, like, if this actually went a different way, I would be pissed. And I think, like, 90% of the audience would be too. But obviously, the end game is, like, for them to actually become a family, for, her to figure out that Lloyd's a spy, and for him to find out, she's an assassin, that the daughter's a psychic. And I feel like for some parts of this show, I can kind of predict where it's going. Like, at first I kind of like I kind of get at first I thought Yuri was an assassin too, and I was off on that, but he was having a different job where he worked for the secret police. That's another reason I don't like him, bro. Like he after Twilight, but he's actually like they haven't really portrayed him as much of a threat, so I'm really not too worried about it. But I feel like that's one of those things where I feel like I can see where it will go at some points. It's like this is just a guess, right? But I think either two ways are gonna this is gonna go. One, he finds out that it's Twilight. If that's before Yor finds out or after, whatever. Or then what I think is gonna happen is he's gonna either like uh I don't know, like jump in front of a bullet or something, like save Yor's life in front of Yuri. So he's kind of like, you saved my sister's life. I'll let this go, whatever. And he also has the wrong opinion of Twilight, where he thinks he's evil, whatever. So maybe he can also like with that it'll prove it different. But also, I think another thing could be like he just realizes that his sister loves him, and it would actually upset her if they got rid of him. So he kind of begrudgingly accepts it. Also noticing that he's not what they think. So like that was one of the things where I feel like it can go that way. I feel like that's a pretty fair prediction. I If it goes somewhere else, I'd kind of be a little bit surprised. But yeah, so Anya also just a great great character. Like probably my favorite little kid character in all of anime. Just so cute, and the voice acting is really good. And I just really found that funny, like how she would say things and everything. I watched it subbed, um, but I just thought that was great. Just I liked everything about her character, and I also liked changing it up a little bit. I also liked the 3 episode. Well, I think it was more than 3 episodes for both, but I'm not certain. The arc with Lloyd, and then the the bomber, whatever it was, in the in the clock tower with where Bond and Anya find out that he's gonna die in that explosion, and then there's the other one where it's on the cruise ship, and they've shown through those episodes, but mostly the Lloyd one, the clock tower one, that like I can see where that's going too, where it's like they can be a family who all works together, who all figures this out. And that's like something I know they will like eventually, but it's like I want them to know now, because I feel like how far of a relationship can they build, especially between Yor and Lloyd, if they don't know each other. Like he tries to kiss her a couple times, which by the way, I hate those fake out shits. Like it really annoys me. In general, it annoys me. But then it's like when they do that, they cut like 3 times, 3 separate times where it's like, okay, it's the end of the episode. Well, I guess this way, but it's the end of the episode. Then they start it. They get all the way back up there again. Then it's like credits, and then they don't. It was like, okay, and then you find out Yor like hasn't even kissed anyone, and and Lloyd's just like, I've been with countless women. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, they kind of show that in the first episode where he was Robert, and he was flirting with that girl, and she's like, you think we'll get married? And he's just like, I'm breaking up with you. You're like, you're stupid or something. He didn't exactly say it like that, but he's like, you don't have any intelligent conversations. So that was good. I also just kind of feel like the main plot, I'm not saying I want this like to be rushed through, but I just feel like, especially with the stars, it just feels like such like a drag out kind of thing. And I'm not completely complaining about that, because I just really enjoyed these characters together and their growing relationship, which is kind of my favorite part of the whole show. It is my favorite part of the whole show. So I just, it just, that feels like too blatant to me of like a stretch it out kind of thing. And there's some other way I think that they could do that. But obviously I don't think she's going to get the stars. It's going to be Desmond. So that was interesting too. I kind of didn't like Desmond in the beginning, clearly. I mean, he was, a little asshole, but he's not too bad. And he obviously has feelings for Anya. I mean, he's really not like, I don't know. She doesn't give a shit about him like that, so I don't really care that much. I'm not invested in all that, but their relationship's slowly going somewhere, so that was cool. Just make sure here. Yeah, so like I said, I really want them to find out about each other, because I just feel like there's a barrier. There's a barrier that they can't go past a certain point, and until they figure that out. And I feel like they've made it quite clear that both of them would kind of accept that that's what they do, because they're not on opposite sides necessarily. Like they both state like, oh, I'm doing this for other people. I mean, she doesn't state that until the cruise ship episodes, where she's like, why am I doing this? And she's like, so that people can smile. People can smile. That's Lloyd, but so people can live peaceful lives. And he does the exact same thing. So I'm just like, I know, and they show that in those episodes where it's like Anya works with them and figures stuff out, and then she kind of points it out and all that. So I'm just feeling like they already work together as a team like that, and I can just see that kind of flowing. I don't know necessarily how it go, like how the reveal would go. I almost thought something would happen on the boat, the cruise ship, but I was kind of like in the back of my mind, nah, there's no way. But I don't know. I kind of think there's a couple ways. I feel like there's no way they kind of reveal it themselves unless Lloyd figures out she's an assassin, or she figures out, I guess, and then reveals herself to him. But I'm not necessarily sure. I also think maybe like she could get hired to kill Lloyd or something like that, but maybe not, because they've never shown her organization as being evil. Although I feel like that could be like a thing of like revealed of, the secret, it's not really a government organization, whatever, but is doing some bad things. I just feel like that could be a plot point, but so far they haven't done anything to really provoke that, but that's just a thought I had. Yeah, so that's not pretty much it, but I just, trying to think some more. Lloyd and Lloyd and yours relationship is going somewhere. I do like the romance, that there is something there. I just feel like I wish there was a little bit more. Something with Lloyd is I'm having a lot of trouble figuring out when he says what he means. Like, when he's acting and when he's not. Like when they did the montage once again on the cruise ship episodes after that, and he's smiling, he's being happy and stuff. Does he? I mean, obviously, I guess he has to mean that, but it's like some points it's just hard to tell what he's faking and what he's not. So that was something where it's like I just feel like he's faking most of the time, which obviously he's not. Like this is actually like seriously, if this story does not go with them ending up actually becoming a real family and getting together, then I have no clue what the fuck they're doing over there. Who's ever writing it? I should probably have wrote down who's writing it or whatever, but I'm pretty sure there's like no way. Lloyd's backstory is really interesting. I think it's definitely like 10 times more interesting than yours, where it's just like, oh, she became an assassin to raise her brother, or whatever. Which that kind of reminded me, like the whole raising, her younger brother, reminded me of the show. I literally wrote this down here. Oh yeah, here we go. Reminds me of the anime "Listen to Me, Girls, I'm Your Father." I don't remember too much about it. It's just like he's a young guy in college, and his sister who raised him by herself goes missing with her husband, so he has to raise their three daughters. It just reminded me of that, and like how I think the oldest daughter has like a crush on him or whatever, something like that. I mean, Yuri like had some. I don't know. They've kind of played around with like if he had feelings for her like that, which it's like I don't know. Like I said, it's like whatever, dude. I'm just, I just don't like him that much. I don't hate him necessarily, but it's like he hasn't shown enough to the point where I'm like, okay, I like this guy. Literally, he's a one note guy. Oh, my sister, my sister, my sister. Yours, like I love him too, but there's more to her than that. And, he's secret police and stuff. Which the secret police, like this country, seems like kind of like a piece of shit. Like, and I know like neither country is perfect, and they do kind of like even Lloyd's kind of like he doesn't really play sides. I think like even though it's from West Ellis, it's basically just keep the peace. And but I just feel like they're arresting people for not being married at like a certain age, and stuff like that. It just seems some real like kind of Nazi Germany type shit. I know it's like a little overboard, but just some real kind of shit like that. I mean, we haven't seen how West Dallas handles stuff. I mean, not yeah, no, West Dallas. So we don't know necessarily how bad they are, but I just felt like that's kind of something that they kind of gloss over, where it's like the secret police does that, like especially that one where it was like what, like some of the other people I do definitely get, like the guy who was writing fake newspapers in the Yuri episode, half episode, whatever. Because there's like the first season, it's like full plot point for episode, and then the second season, well actually no, the first half of the first season is like 12 episodes, 12 episodes, and that's mostly like a through plot line, and then later on it starts going to be just kind of split into parts and different type of things. Also, almost forgot to mention that first not intro, the exit, with the song and Anya, she's walking around, and then the parents, are there. I'm not explaining it that well, but if you've seen the show, which obviously I'm betting you have if you're watching here, but I just love that exit and credits. That was like my favorite, and then they swapped them out, and I feel like both of the intro and the exit like credits are way more ass. Basically, like I just don't like them. Especially the visuals for the intro. It's like too flashy and just I don't like it. Like the first one was better, so that was something I just didn't like. But that kind of is how it goes. Like I feel like a lot of times like just these anime things, like they have a really fire one, but they change it every like season or whatever. So I just feel like no matter like another one I think of, like now this is just because I can't remember any of the others, but Bleach, the first opening. If you've heard that, like that shit is fire as hell. And then they change it. I can't remember any of the others, but it's been a long time. But so that was something where it was just like, trying to really think of anything else. The other side characters, like I literally wrote her name down, but the one who's in love with Twilight or Lloyd, Nightfall, right? I'm pretty sure it's Nightfall, but if it's not, whatever. Basically, whatever. But or she's in love with him and she wants to become the wife, uh, which I'm just kind of like, eh. I don't really hate her or anything, but obviously that's not what's gonna happen. Something else was, oh yeah, I kind of ran past this, but I mentioned it a little bit. Lloyd's backstory. I am really interested in knowing more. Like I said, Yor doesn't have that much of an interesting backstory. I do think it will be more interesting when they actually show like how she became an assassin, because it's just seemed like she was a little girl who, like, I guess like lost her parents and somehow she's raising her younger brother. Like, she was obviously under 18, so I don't really know how that shit works. I mean, it's anime, but whatever. So yeah, so that's something. But his is just more interesting. Like, he was, in a war torn country, which I'm guessing was West Dallas because they keep mentioning, there was a war 10 years ago, whatever. Um, last, when the war ended, and it seems like his mom got murdered or whatever. When they show that like little flashback, he's like, I can't remember her face. That's like really interesting to me. Like, I just want to know more about that. Obviously, it's because of the war. His mom died, and he was left by himself, and no one gave him a hand. Which is kind of like a thing in anime. I was watching that, and it was like, I mentioned that I finished My Hero Academia season 4 through 6, and the same thing happened, with Shigaraki. So, I mean, if you haven't watched My Hero Academia, I guess a little spoiler for you there, but whatever. Yeah, Nightfall. That is her name, but yeah. So that was something where I'm just really interested in that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, I basically like all the side characters except for Yuri. The professor headmaster guy, he's pretty cool too. Um, that first episode, not the first episode, when they're doing the interview and the guy like goes in on Anya, and she's like, which mom do you like more, your original mother or her? I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? And Lloyd doesn't punch him but punches the desk, and he's like, it's a mosquito, and messes up his hand, and then the other headmaster guy like punches him, and that was like, he's a legend, like, he's a cool guy. I really like him. He respects Lloyd, and he respects Anya. Like, she's crazy. I like, seriously, just such a good character, like so funny and cute. uh which I feel like, obviously is needed to be well done. Like, if it's just some kid like who's not that interesting, the show kind of fails. They all have to be an interesting family where you care about them individually enough to want them to be together. Um, so I do want to see more of her flashback as well, like who her real mother is. They said like she was created in an accident in a lab, but when the guy was like, "Who do you care about more, your original mother or this mother?" and she was like, started crying. I'm curious about that, so I do want to know more about that. I'm assuming like all this stuff will get more information too, but that's for the future. That's some stuff I really want to know. Like, I feel like sometimes like some of these episodes I just don't give a shit about. Like, especially like the cut in half ones, like the Yuri one. That was somewhat interesting, but then the Nightfall one was really fucking boring. The one where, like, when he's on the cruise ship, she's doing all these missions and shit. That was just some shit where I was like, okay, whatever. Like, that was kind of boring. So it's like some stuff of that I would like to be more full episodes of, just plot moving forward. But it depends, I guess, how far the manga's actually gone, because I don't really know. I feel like, I don't know. I really like when the manga's kind of like, I don't know, done maybe or something, like, because I feel like that's why we have to wait for such a long time, because they just they follow the manga so closely. But yeah, I feel like eventually we'll get all that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. Um, mm, not really. I just feel like, yeah, like I said, sometimes it gets a little frustrating actually, when when Anya is thinking things, and then she always puts these scenarios like when they're on a cruise ship. I keep mentioning the cruise ship, but it's a lot of shit goes down. Where she's like, yours fighting, like, like in her memory, where she's like, oh, he finds out, I'm gonna leave you, like, I'm divorcing you, and I'm gonna return Anya too. And it's like, she did get returned back to the orphanage plenty of times, so I kind of get that. But it's just like all the time they all think of like the most ridiculous, like, I guess, choice or whatever. And I feel like there is no way that, like, that that they would return her or whatever. I don't know if we're at the point though where Lloyd would not tell his superiors and she would get like, taken back and experimented on and stuff. If I was to guess what's gonna happen with her is how they're gonna at least figure out she's a telepath. And I feel like this could be how they all figure out what each other is she's gonna get kidnapped by the people, who created her. They said, she ran out of the lab. And then that's kind of how they're gonna reveal. And he's finally gonna, Twilight and yours definitely finally gonna admit, like, this is more than just a mission for me. Like, this is my family. Which is, I just want that so bad. I know, like, they have to go through a lot to get there, but I just want that so bad for them to not, like, and they do have those moments where, like, this is just a mission. This is just a mission. But I wish just one time, they would think, like, have a nice moment and then not just be like, it's just a mission. For both of them, so yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Spy X Family. I'll probably make another video when the season's actually, the next season come out, which luckily they did confirm that. I was a little bit worried because the episode count went from 25 in season 1 to 12. So I'm just excited for more of that. And like I said, I have a couple other videos coming down the pipeline. My Hero, I think, is going to be next, and then I'll get through Heaven's Lost Property. So I think that's about it for this video. Peace.